Well, in spite of all the facts against me, I always suspected that there was something irresistible about me. And I secretly hoped that someday the right woman would come alone and catch me in the right light, and she would fall madly in love with me at the first sight. But I wasn't sure until I met Emma. I was supposed to meet a retired CIA agent to interview him for my book, but instead, Marilyn Monroe opens the door. I mean, the woman who opened the door looked like Marilyn Monroe. She looked lovely, graceful, and stylish. That's not who I expected to face, and I stammered. I must have the wrong place. I'm supposed to meet Edward Zhemukhov. Yes, that's my uncle, and I'm his niece, Emma. Come on in. And she showed me to Zhemukov's study and left us alone. And I found it extremely hard to focus on interviewing an old CIA agent while a woman of my dream was in the next room. I was happy when my interview with Zhemukhov was over, and even happier when Emma came to see me off. And I couldn't believe my ears when she said, I used to dance with the Washington Ballet, and they sent me 2 tickets for a dress rehearsal this Thursday. Would you like to join me? I thought, did this amazing woman just ask me out? But why? She's probably not smitten by my stammering at the door, but she did, and I'll go with it. And I said casually, yes, I'd love to. I couldn't wait for Thursday. Finally, we met and we watched Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake. But all through the ballet, I was more aware of the ballerina next to me than those on the stage. Afterward, I drove Emma home, and as we arrived at her place, I tried to say something romantic. I said, I found Siegfried love dance deeply moving. And I regretted my stupid romantic line as soon as Emma said, I wasn't particularly impressed with the choreography of that scene. And suddenly, she surprised me with a kiss. To tell the truth, I wasn't impressed with the choreography of our first kiss, but the very fact made me feel dizzy. And as we were partying, Emma said, I'd like to introduce you to my daughter, Chrissy. I thought, a kiss, an invitation to meet her daughter on the very first date? I'm on fire. So next week, I met Emma and her daughter, Chrissy, at the Cat Cafe. This is Chrissy's and my favorite cafe, Emma said, while the 3 of us sat on the carpeted floor, surrounded by 24 rescued cats. I said, can I order you coffee or tea? No, Chrissy rolled her eyes. This is the Cat Cafe, and cats don't drink coffee or tea. So after a long, awkward, and uncaffeinated time spent pretending to like cats, Emma said, Chris is going back to college on Sunday. Would you like to come over to watch a movie? Sure, I said, and I thought, she's inviting me over in front of her daughter. Have I just been promoted to stepfather figure? But I was still confused about what made me so irresistible to Emma. So I couldn't wait for the Sunday, and I was excited to finally be alone, not sharing Emma with her daughter or 24 cats. Only on Sunday, Emma opens the door and whispers, so sorry, Chris is here. That's okay, I forced a smile. And she brought her father with her. I stopped smiling then. She said, we've recently separated and we're heading toward a divorce. I was waiting for the right time to tell you. Definitely, this is the right time, I said, and it backed away. Maybe I should come back another time. No, no, come in. And she pulled me in. So she introduced me to her almost ex-husband. Let's call him Joseph Sharp, the US ambassador in Jakarta. Dad just flew in from Indonesia, Chrissy said. And I thought, I hope we're not disrupting international affairs. After we sat for a while in awkward silence, to my surprise, the separated ambassador asks me, would you mind if I eat an apple? Some people can't tolerate the noise. Not me, go ahead, I say. So he takes a big apple from the vase, and I say, they look good, and also reach for one. And then he says, would you mind not eating it, please? What? I'll confess, he smiled charmingly. It irritates me when others eat apples. That's why I made sure you wouldn't object. Emma said, Joe, but I put my apple back and I thought, so this is how diplomats shut down their opponents. And Chrissy triumphantly showed her braces like a college cheerleader whose team just scored. So they talked nonstop about Indonesian politics, ballet, and cats, the three subjects that I knew little about. When Emma and Chrissy went to the kitchen to make tea, separated Joe asked me, so how did you two meet? I said, Edward Mankov introduced us. I interviewed him for my book on the Russian Olympics while Emma was there sorting out his library. That's right, Edward is moving to California, separated Joe said. Actually, that's the reason I came back. I could use his collection of declassified CIA papers from the time when he served in Moscow. But divorcing his niece, it seems awkward to ask him. So I wonder if you could help. Sure, I said, relieved that he cared only about CIA reports. And I thought maybe I can get him the papers and he'll be out of the way. I appreciate it, he said, and went to the kitchen to help Emma and Chrissy. So when they came back with tea, I asked Emma, did you come across Edward's collection of declassified CIA reports from Moscow? But she ignored my question and strangely looked at me. I thought, these papers seem quite sensitive. So I casually mentioned them a couple of more times, and she stopped making eye contact with me. Even worse, I noticed her exchanging a secretive look with separated Joe. Mankov's CIA papers somehow broke the spell between Emma and me, and at the end of the evening, they both saw me off together as if squeezing me out of their apartment. So to remind separated Joe of his status, I firmly shook his hand and said, sorry about your divorce. And he said, apology accepted, and closed the door behind me. So Emma never invited me on another date. I wasn't sure why she left me, but I was even less sure why she was with me in the first place. Still, since she initiated our first 3 dates, I called her 3 more times, and she shut me down each time. When I met Edward Mankov a couple of weeks later, he asked, did you hear Emma moved back in with Joe? And they returned to Jakarta together. Oh, I didn't know, I said. I guess the ambassador asked you himself about your declassified papers. Joe doesn't care about my papers, Mankov said. Russia isn't even his specialty. And I didn't know what to think. And then Mankov said, I feel like you've been treated unfairly here, and you deserve better. So I'll tell you what's going on. Joe told me that he mentioned my papers to you. And then he warned Emma and Chrissy that you might be a KGB spy more interested in the CIA papers than in Emma's heart. Oh, so he played Emma and me, I said. No, Mankov said. She didn't want to divorce herself. She complained to me about it before you came the other time. I guess she used you as a bait to attract Joe back. Oh, that's why she introduced me to Chrissy, I said, so that the daughter would report our romance to the father and make him jealous enough to rush back from Jakarta. I guess you'd call me a useful idiot. Hey, at least you were useful, Menkov laughed. You did a great job and reunited a family. And to cheer you up, I want to give you my collection of declassified documents. Mankov's CIA papers proved as useless in my research as his interviews. He didn't help much, but at least he helped resolve my mystery of Emma's interest in me. And I finally realized that love is never going to fall into my lap just because somebody falls for my looks.